Hi everyone, my name is Erin Woods and I am a partner with Trades of Hope, and this is my husband, Justin Woods.
Hello.
He is my husband of 17 years this month, and also a partner in a way of Trades of Hope because he's my partner and has been incredibly supportive of my business for the last 7 years. And so supportive that we are filming a 3-part video series, and this is part 1, having to do with...
It might go 5 parts.
Yeah, I don't know. Right? The
10
plan,
parts. We'll see what the reaction
The
is.
plan was 3 parts, and there may be like a better 2.0 version of this. This is like winging it with a legal pad. But we've had so many conversations about I hate all the words that have to do recruiting, sponsoring, building a team, like all of those things that for me were like the ickiest parts of direct selling. Like when I did a direct sales business in my early 20s and it was all about like recruiting and building a team and barf, it just turned me off so much to the whole industry. And I think that's a pretty common experience.
Well, we ran into a perfect synergy, I think, between us, right? Like you went from teaching, so you had great presentation skills and you kind of stumbled upon this, and I have a sales background and I'm super passionate about sales and engaging with people. And so as you built the business, we talked nightly. Like, and it wasn't, we talked a lot.
Hence these videos.
Yes, right. But like we talked about your business nightly. And it wasn't from a place of really like how to get there. It was just about like honing the craft a little bit, right? And like the best way to build and sell and communicate, because it was a little bit different of a skill set. It was nice. Finally, I was good at something. She's always been like,
you're good at a lot of things.
But in our relationship,
you can't talk about being an English teacher.
And I can't sing. She can sing. If you guys haven't heard her sing.
But no, I mean, I think when I first started, first of all, I didn't even think that I would be good at sales, and you had always told me that I would be. And I was a teacher, so I could sell Shakespeare to teenagers, so I knew there was something to that. And because Trades of Hope was so much about storytelling, like I did kind of latch onto that.
Right.
But I still had this like mental block against sponsoring or growing a team. I was just like, no, that's why I left the first direct sales company that I was a part of, because I didn't like any part of that.
That was terrible.
It felt awful and, just not me. And I couldn't find my own words and my own way. And so I just said, I'm not going to do that. And I didn't sponsor somebody for almost a year.
Right.
Like I was just selling and doing my thing. And I was like, I don't sponsor. I don't want a team. I don't want to do any of that. And that's crazy. Like I didn't even look at the compensation plan. Remember the night that we first printed out the compensation plan?
You were doing it truly
like
just
you can look at it
for something to do.
Yeah.
Really. Like it was something to do, and it was a good mission, right? Like
I love the mission, which everybody loves.
But it was really just like you had young babies at home and she quit her job and she wanted something to do, so it was awesome. But it applies to like everybody, right?
It had been almost a year, and he was like, "Have you ever looked at the compensation plan? Like, what is it? What happens when you build a team?" Because honestly, what flipped the switch for me was going to the very first.
That's analytics. What? The analytics of your comp plan, that's my jam.
No, I was not interested in any of that. That was I don't even know what analytics means. But I went to that first retreat and heard for the very first time from women who had been on vision trips.
Right. And
it wasn't even from artisans. It was just women who had gone to Haiti, and they were sharing what they had experienced. And I was like, slap my face. I can't believe how real this is. And I realized in that moment, sponsoring was not about me at all. It was about perpetuating the mission that I was already in love with. I'd been a partner for over a year. I loved Trades of Hope. I loved the artisans. I loved what I was doing by selling. Yeah. But I was like, oh my gosh, you want to talk about exponential impact on the artisans. And it's been true. In 7 years, I've watched us go in, we were in 9 countries when I started. Now we're in 17 or 18 countries. Right. We're growing. And that's only because of the teams that have been built and the partners that have been invited in. And if I hadn't done that, I can't even imagine. I can sell a lot. I'm throwing my pen. I should say that. I can sell.
It's getting exciting over here.
I can sell a lot by myself.
Yes.
I've always been one of the top sellers in this company, and I'm very proud of that. But man, it is so cool what happens when we do it together.
It's awesome.
And So when that light bulb went off, and then of course I had the chance to go to Haiti, and it was just like, okay, that's it. Like, I'm gonna come home because I don't want to withhold from somebody this experience, and it also wasn't about me. So
All right, on to the agenda.
yeah, so
Or it's
this
gonna be way too
video
long.
is about why you should ask or why we're not asking.
Right.
And that's the thing that
We're
really
gonna have to shorten
was
that.
the conversation starter that Justin was like,
Yeah.
why aren't people asking? Like that, this is where this whole thing started.
Right.
And he's like, I don't get it.
I've never understood.
I'm like, well, people feel pushy, or people are afraid of like what other people are gonna think, and you know, direct selling has this reputation that we're all afraid of.
Yeah.
And you know, Justin's always like, yeah, but why would you still not like bring that up to at a party, or why would
Yeah.
you know, like why is that still something?
Why would you not? Why would you assume the answer is no?
Yeah.
In any situation, right?
I mean, that is like sales 101.
That's the only reason we're married right now. If I'm being honest,
You just
right?
decided
Like,
to ask.
I was like, yeah, what the hell?
No, but like the answer is always no unless you ask,
Right.
right? I mean, that's like such a basic thing. I tell my kids that all the time. You know, when Barrett's like, I know you're going to say no to this. I'm like, no, you don't. Like, you have to ask the question. Don't assume that I'm going to say no.
Right.
I often do say no, but that's.
And a lot of people will say no.
Yeah, yeah.
But again, that's why
also
we're
sales
married.
101.
I had a lot of no's. Not with marriage.
We've derailed.
We've been
I'm
together
throwing
since
my
we were
pen.
19. I'm
Yeah,
just saying.
I know.
All right.
No,
Anyways.
but what I think can turn that around are a couple of things. First of all, what helped me turn it around was just realizing it wasn't about me. That was a big thing. Like realizing that asking somebody to join or to be part of Trades of Hope, or offering them, however you want to phrase it, asking, offering, sharing, inviting. I mean, there's a million different synonyms we could use. But telling somebody that they can do this too, or telling somebody that they would be really good at doing this, is not about me. Because my mindset is not, I have to build my team, I have to do this. Like, no, it's about maybe this person would really like what I'm doing because I love it. Like, why would I make the assumption that they wouldn't love it too? And if I don't ask, again, like the answer is always no.
And don't make the assumption they're going to ask you, right? Like,
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
a lot of, I would imagine, and I don't do what you all do.
Because nobody's ever asked me to have a party.
Right. So, like,
Maybe
I
like
do
50
something
people.
different, but I think I get it, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's a little bit the same. Like, I don't go into a massive presentation for what we sell and then just say, like, that's
do you
it.
think?
Like,
Yeah.
you have to ask them to buy,
Mhm.
right? And in your world, buying is shopping, spot or hosting or joining, right?
Mhm.
Like, and you can't have the expectation that they're going to ask you.
Yeah, I
Right?
think that's
Like,
huge.
You
Yeah.
have to ask. You have to ask. That's part of your job.
And we're going to get into, in the next series of the videos, who to ask and how to ask. So we are going to get into the nuts and bolts. But I think this one's really just about like thinking about why you're not asking and thinking about what's going on in your head around this topic, because I have a lot of things going around in my head. But the truth is, there's actually a really positive feeling about the gig economy right now, about side gigs in general. You know, Gretchen just went to this DSA conference, and there was a really big survey done, and the statistics that came back from that were really compelling. Like 77% of Americans are looking for some kind of side opportunity. 80% of people have a positive perspective on direct selling. So think about that. You go into a party, there's 10 people there, 8 of those people are into what you're doing. They showed up for the party. I mean, that's a huge, like,
That's the biggest thing.
you know, they're there. They're
They
interested.
showed up to the party.
And what drives women specifically in terms of what side gig they're going to choose, flexibility, which we certainly offer along with everybody else, low startup, low risk, which for me was huge too. That was potentially a barrier to me joining, but I had a party and I used my hostess rewards to get my kit. You remember, I was
Yeah.
like, I'm not doing it. And you're like, it's free. Like, you're using a $100 coupon to get your $100 kit. I'm like, yeah. He's like, what do you have to lose? So,
And I was totally anti, by the
yeah,
way.
because we had a really
Because we had
direct
a
sales,
really bad
like,
experience with
yeah.
direct sales, and I was like, "You're not spending any money at all."
So if you're,
so don't discount
yeah.
the $20 coupon.
Well, the $20
or
coupon that's out
whatever
now, and
else.
then using your hostess rewards, that is an
It's big time.
ongoing, because if women are looking
Yeah.
for low startup, low risk, encourage them to have a party and then use their hostess rewards. That is huge. And then they're also driven by purpose and trustworthiness. So I feel like Trades of Hope offers what the industry offers, but then we offer that next level of purpose that is like incomparable, across the field. Like you don't have the same sense of purpose. I mean, there's obviously others that are like helping people with health and wellness and all those kinds of things. But for me, like when you know that you're directly impacting the life of a woman around the world, on the other side of the globe, because you're sharing about adorable pairs of earrings, like all day long. Like, how is that? I mean, that's amazing to me. And then I can earn my income. I have a total flexible, job and all of those other things. So women are driven by these things and looking for a side gig. And honestly, the younger the generation, the more positive they feel about direct sales. So like millennials who are so interested in like, multiple streams of income and that kind of thing.
Well, hang on. How much time are we in? Can you tell?
10:45.
Okay. It's good. No, I know. It's going to get too long if we do all this. I think we talk about for a second how you ask. I know we have another video or you have another plan, but I think it's important. Like, so we're talking about why. Sorry, I know I'm totally derailing her. You're going to get so mad at me.
Am I supposed to edit this out?
No. Oh. I don't think so. Like, we were talking about this at dinner the other night, right? Like, if you're hosting a party and you show up to present at a party, the hard work is done.
Yeah.
Like, it's done. I would think in your line of business and mine, right? Like, we call it a demo, right? We're demoing the product. You guys are demoing the product or having a party or whatever you want to call it. You show up and you show all this, and it's a wonderful story. It's a beautiful story. It's helping so many people. You have people there that are willingly there because they want to understand more, right? And you're not asking. Yeah. Like that is the biggest miss in the entire world. And like, if you want to grow your team, right?
Great if you don't want to grow your team. You just want to serve the mission
fine.
better.
Whatever it is.
Yeah.
But if we're talking about growing your team or hosting more parties, like that is where you do it. And if you're missing that, like the hard work's done. That you've been invited in someone's home, you've set up, people are there, they're enjoying it, they're listening. Like that's the time to ask, right? And I think, and I've been saying this for 7 years, I think people don't know how to ask. And I love the way you do it. I know we didn't talk about this at all, but like you tell them at the beginning, right? When you show up, like, I'm going to ask you before the presentation, I'm going to ask you to buy, or have a party or join.
I don't say it exactly like that, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the assumptions are there to shop, but I say, I'm going to ask every single one, because I talk about the ripple effect, and I'm going to say, I'm going to ask every single one of you if you want to have your own party. Now, let's be honest, I don't always say, and I'm going to talk to you about being a partner.
Crazy.
But 2020, I know. And if I'm not doing it, I know. Like, this is my goal for 2020 is to even change my own asking.
But the best way, like a mental sales game to play with people, is
we're not really playing a game.
I'm sorry, it's not
mental sales game to play with people is not going to resonate with this. It's okay.
Sorry.
What do we do? That's okay.
I know. I am coming from like a little bit. Yes. It is. It's in the right place. But if you're selling to people, like tell them in the beginning, like I'm going to ask you to do X, Y, or Z, right? Like, so that when they're going through the presentation, they are thinking the whole time. They're not just saying, I would love to be a part of this. They're saying, I can do this, and I'm going to engage with Aaron or Sarah or Tracy or Nicole or whoever, right, at the end of it, and I'm going to find out how I can do this as well, because it means it's resonating with me.
Yeah, yes. Once you get to the end, then it's like, oh, well, I definitely want to know.
Right, and then you book in that.
Because you've broken the ice too.
You've broken the ice. You tell them in the beginning, like,
that makes it so much easier.
You can just shop, cool. You can host, better, or you can join, like the best, right? And then there's this ripple effect, more people, more good, right? Like that's kind of the thing.
Yeah.
And so they're thinking about that before you even start. And then you go through this amazing presentation about these wonderful stories that are 100% true and 100% accurate, and 100% would not work. It would not happen without you guys doing what you do. And then you bookend it at the end with simply following up with what you told them in the beginning you were going to say.
Yeah.
And you're saying, look, you're shopping, that's great. Would you like to host? Yes. Would you like to join? Yes. Like, you have to ask.
And I think, I've even like tiptoed around it, and I'm so tired of that. I've been feeling this like thing inside me, like I'm holding back. And, like I went to Guatemala, and like the artisans that got up and spoke to us, like they weren't holding back anything. Like they weren't apologizing for wanting to sell us what they had made and wanting to make their businesses grow so that they could invite more women in to be part of their sisterhood and their community of work. And I was like, oh my gosh, like why am I holding back? Why am I almost apologizing for something that I have to offer when, it's like it's this little thing that feels hard, but if you start your presentation with that, or you start the conversation with that and just kind of like rip off the Band-Aid, even for a Facebook party, I'm going to start Facebook parties with talking about joining sooner. I have left it until the end, and I don't know why, and I'm not going to do that in 2020. So, it's like...
Well, you can do it at the end.
Well, I'm going to do it at the beginning,
but
too,
you should do it at the beginning.
Just like I do at a home party. So I don't know why I'm not treating my Facebook parties in the same way. So yeah, I just think, so we did go over, we did talk a little bit, we're going to go into more of the how, but just for this particular video, it was about mindset. Like it was about looking at your own thoughts about asking, and then your own behaviors around asking, understanding why it's important and maybe why you're not asking, but then also making some new commitments to yourself for this new year to just say the words, I would love to work with you. You'd be so good at this, or you're such an amazing, whatever, advocate or voice, or like you tell such a good story, or you're so funny. Like there's so many reasons why, that you can compliment somebody.
Or you're nice, or
wow, like I
you're
love
bored and you want something to do.
I mean, there's a
or
million different things,
like,
especially when you're making it about somebody else. And you're curious about them, and you're asking them questions, and you're really like serving their needs.
Yes.
And if Trays of Hope is a good fit, awesome. And if it's not, you're not going to leave them with a weird, like, I just got recruited taste in their mouth, because you were just being curious, and you were just complimenting somebody, and you were, offering them something that is awesome. And if it's not right for them right now, that's okay. And they're going to leave with a smile on their face, and you were kind, and you were interested in their life. I mean, it's not a like scary thing. I think we make it scary in our minds, and we need to just stop that. And I'm going to stop that.
Yeah. I think to clarify probably what you're talking about a little bit is just like how to engage with people, right? Like typically in any situation, to engage with somebody and get the best results is not to talk about yourself and talk about your business and to talk about you, even though it's comfortable because you want to, in any situation, whether it's social or Trades of Hope or your other business or whatever, like you want to put the spotlight on the person you're talking to, right? And that's
something you have to practice. It's not something,
especially for girls.
I've never
honestly,
been
like
great at it.
most guys, and we started this with like kind of joking around about like, I asked you or whatever, but it was mainly because I put the spotlight on you, right? Like for a long time, I was engaged with you because I wanted to learn about you, but it was genuine, like, and you should be genuine too. Yeah. You should really want to know about other people, and that's how you draw people in, right? Like you don't draw people in by telling them everything about you, right? Yeah. That's how you become the person they avoid, right? They run from you. They don't want to hear about your business. They don't want to hear about your family. Sooner or later they do, right? But everybody wants to talk about themselves, right? And everybody, yourself, the other person, but in a sales transaction, you want to focus on the other person. And at the end of the day, this really is kind of
it's a transaction.
It's a sales transaction, but it's a relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like, and you want to build that relationship. You want to build the rapport. You want to build trust. And how do you build trust? Like, you know about the other person, right? Like you really do.
You care.
If you walk out of the house and you know everything about everybody there and they know nothing about you, that's not a bad thing, really.
Well, and I think this is, I mean, in any direct sales business or any sales business, like you never know sometimes when you're going into a demo, like you don't know who you're meeting. You don't know. I mean, you might have a little bit of information about
Not
them.
a lot.
Maybe you've never met them before. Most of the time, you probably never met them before.
No.
Especially when it's like a new.
Know nothing about them.
And so
we know the buildings they represent.
Yeah, I mean, like
right.
You know,
very surface stuff.
Yeah,
and we call that discovery. Right? Like when
that's what Milan calls it too.
Yeah, it's discovery.
But it's really neat. I mean, it's something that I've really learned to love is that I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen when I walk into this party, you know, and who I'm going to meet and the stories I'm going to hear and the, you know, the connections that I'm going to see with the hostess and her guests. And like, it's always interesting. Now, what I need to do with that, because I often am quiet now at parties.
Even when it's bad?
Yeah, it's still interesting. Yeah, I mean,
right?
even when it's like totally bizarro.
Yeah,
to come home with like crazy stories.
Like,
yeah. But a lot of times it's really awesome.
Interesting.
And so, but what I need to do with that is really start to manifest like the next step, the asking step.
Right.
So we are going to get to that more in the next video. This went twice as long as we intended. So I might splice it into two.
No.
Or we'll just go with this. But there's more to come. This one was really about mindset. We're gonna get into who and how in the next video or two or three. I don't even know. But yeah, I feel inspired. I feel like I'm like, you know, working on my own boldness in 2020 and kind of shifting some of the things that I've gotten complacent about. I need to step up and try. And honestly, it makes it so much more fun, so much more enjoyable, and it's better for the artisans, and then it's better for your business. Like what you can do by yourself is awesome, but what you can do with a team is pretty exciting.
It's amazing.
You know, if you've never printed out the comp plan, try it. It's not that bad.
Yeah.
Just give it to your husband and be like, what does this mean?
Or look at it yourself.
Or look at it.
Yes.
It's not that complicated. It was more complicated back then. So anyway. All right. Thanks for watching. And more good to come, I hope. All right. Bye.
Bye.